we'll do a little housekeeping here first while we accumulate people. I will apologize if my audio isn't as crispy as usual, but the video and the connection will be better because I have a 150-foot Ethernet cable running from my house through my backyard and out to my office. So we're pushing like 900, we're close to a gig. So we're going to be a lot better in that respect, but I ate up all my ports and I need something, I need a 49th dongle to be able to get my microphone. So maybe next week we'll make that happen. As always, shout out to Gorilla Mind for sponsoring this episode and every episode. Fit to gorillamind.com/misfit, or just go to Gorilla Mind and use the code word misfit at checkout. You save money on the best supplements in the game. The company that inspired me to start a supplement company and then inspired me to come back and beg them to sponsor the podcast over the course of a few months. You support them, you support us and the show, and you save a little bit of dough. So gorillamind.com/misfit, or use the code word misfit at checkout. We are 4 days away from our latest affiliate programming phase getting started. Rushmore gets started on Monday, March 16th, and you can get a 2-week free trial by going to teammisfit.com. Click on the sign up now button, and you can get a free trial through StreamFit, SugarWOD, or Push Press, or you can email me directly, coach@misfitathletics.com. I will send you the PDF version those 2 weeks so you can take a look at those. And if you want to hop on a call, just let me know. Same email address. We'll get on a call and talk through our affiliate program. Just a little teaser, if you didn't listen to the episode, the Rushmore concept is based on doing a benchmark workout once a week, every week for the 7 weeks, which is a little bit of fun we'll put out there. I don't want to be too direct with the word fun once you see what the 7 benchmarks are, but you guys get the idea. If you're looking for individual programs, you can get a free trial to any of those by going to the link in bio on our Instagram and clicking on the Fitter or Strivey links. That is our GPP program, all of our competitor programs, all that good stuff. Free trials are available there. You can also head to sharpentheaxecode.com. There are a few pieces left of the Rain or Shine collection as we get prepped to do the 2026 athlete collection jerseys, which is pretty cool. Yeah. Paige, show them your shirt. Pass me a fridge cig. I love
It's a little something to take the edge off.
Just a little something to take the edge off. All right. We are going to start with the top 10 from 26.2 on the men's side and the women's side for Misfit athletes. I know that a lot of you want to know how to get on that leaderboard, but then also maybe disappear for the next week and don't get the instructions. So you have the instructions now for the wrap-up show, which we're going to do 2 sets of prizes. We are going to do one based on the top 10 overall in the Open, and then we're going to do one based on everybody that did 26.3. So it's going to be double prizes next week. So make sure that you get to the spreadsheet link that we put out, which is in the Telegram. It's currently on an Instagram story. I'm happy to post it wherever you guys need it to be posted. I'll probably email it this week as well to get as many people involved as possible. So we will flip the order this week, and we will shout out the top 10 Misfit women on 26.2. Kenzie Riley squeaks out a narrow victory for first place once again. Kenzie Riley, Paige Semenza, Lindsay Hoffman, Elena Pomerisi, Kelly Clark, Emma Hagstrom, Adrian Winges, Kaylin Mitchell, Ashley Drabicki, and Missy G. Shout out to Peyton Forsyth for jumping into 11th place there. Paige, random number generator. What do we got?
Let's see. 16.
16. Paige, how timely is this? Before the podcast starts, Paige makes sure that her remote athlete is on the leaderboard. We manually add Katie Tevog to the leaderboard, and she has won the prize. Katie, please reach out to me directly. You have my email address. You have a few different ways of getting in touch with me. What a buzzer beater that is. None of this is staged. So you get a free Sharpen the Axe gift card. Reach out to me. I don't think anyone reached out to me last week. So there are,
Nice.
yeah, both people that won. I don't even remember. Pete Naz won, and I don't remember who won on the women's side, but you should reach out to me directly
Yikes.
if you wanna get it. All right, the gentlemen, top 10. Kyle Moline, Adam Selmani, Tyler Kluver, Wyatt Mell, Anthony Greco, Shane Lloyd, Hunter Stewart, John Domick, Nicholas Cole Butler, and DJ, you're doing it to me again, DJ Machinsky. I'm just guessing that the Z's got to be silent. I don't know what to do with it, DJ. You got to tell me what to do with the Z, or I'm going to have to Google it. And then there is technically one based on the tiebreaker, so we'll shout out Nicholas Becker as well. All right, Paige, random number generator for the gentleman.
Let's go 10. Lucky number 10. Same guy.
DJ Machinsky. DJ, please reach out to me, coach@misfitathletics.com, @misfitcoach on Instagram,
how to say your
@misfitcoach. Yes, that is part of it. I will give you, if you tell me how to pronounce your name, I will increase the amount of the gift card. So shout out to DJ, both for being in the top 10 and for making it so that I don't know what to do with the Z, and for your gift card. Congratulations on all of those things. All right, Paige, 26.2. What are your thoughts from the athlete perspective?
Listen, if you're not conditioned with your pulling, you're going to pay for it in that workout.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was a combination of like gas and muscle endurance. So, obviously for some, it's going to be straight muscle endurance being on the pull-up bar that much. But if you're able to move fast, then, you're going to feel it. But yeah, I'd say right now, like for me personally, not very conditioned, which I guess when I put it in perspective of like, this is me feeling deconditioned on pulling, that's not a bad thing with where I'm sitting. So kind of a cool perspective to look at it from. But yeah, I mean, where did your midline go and where did your grip go?
Yeah.
Pretty toasty.
We talked about it on the affiliate podcast. But one of the fun things with classic CrossFit is you can run interference in multiple different ways. And one of the ways is putting sneaky work capacity early. So while the 5 to 7 minutes roughly for a lot of people, maybe 5 to 8 minutes for a general population, that it took for you to get through into your tie break time, not terrible, right? Like, even if you pushed it, not necessarily terrible, but then you go do the math on what the work is. And that has always been the magic. That was the magic of Fran,
Mm-hmm.
We've got 45 reps each. It looks pretty simple on paper. And there's just an alchemy to, like, it's a pretty long range of motion to go with the thruster. You're moving your body, a longer range of motion with the pulling, especially with kipping being involved. And what that does to you from like a metabolic standpoint is very sneaky. So you put all of that work in there, and yes, there is pulling, there is the overhead with the dumbbell, there's all that, but there's also all of the work that gets jammed into that period of time before you're asked to do the 20 muscle ups. One thing that confused me community-wide in terms of content that was put out is people who are really good at muscle ups couldn't believe why someone else was like failing their final one. A bad strategy is a bad strategy, whether you are starting your on-ramp class or the CrossFit Games winner did fail a muscle up. So it just cracks me up that there's a conversation about like, you should be better at these muscle ups. And it's like, well, maybe they shouldn't have done 12 to open, right? You're pushing your capacity past a point. Your athlete IQ isn't sending you the correct signals to come down a rep or two sooner. And I totally understand, like, we saw some of the best athletes in the world on the men's side and the women's side posting about how rough their muscle ups were. the the risk profile is very low. Like, why not go for it, right? Like,
Yeah.
you can redo if you're really that worried about it. Most of them aren't going to redo. And it's like, well, this is where I can find out. This is where I can develop my athlete IQ. So I thought that narrative was just kind of funny. It's like, well, why aren't you better at this movement? And it's like, well, you have to be better at it and you have to be smart, right? How many people on earth can do that workout unbroken? It's like, I don't know, 5. Like, I don't know the answer to it. But I just kind of, it cracked me up to see that much content out there about, like, I can't believe these people are failing. And it's like, if they were failing and they were doing like sets of 3, I would get it. But like, so many high level games athletes opened with large sets and didn't take into account the amount of work that they had done, and then they failed.
Right. It's also like, they're there to show us what is possible, right? So it's like, they're gonna push the envelope, like, especially on the guys side, like, they are so competitive with each other. Like, Jason Hopper is going to fight for every single rep that he could get. Like, that's the competitive nature of him. Like, I didn't know that narrative was being passed around. That's kind of funny, because I'm like, who's this coming from? Let's go see you do muscle ups.
I saw a couple videos. The one that was funny was Hiller's video, and he is actually absurdly good at pulling gymnastics.
Yeah.
And honestly, I shouldn't say this because I am a fan of his. I'm a fan of, he calls himself Hiller Fit 2.0. I am a fan of the newer version of his content. Some of his old stuff, I don't like. It's not really my thing. And it seems like he's progressed maybe a little bit.
He's evolved
with his content. He's definitely evolved with his content. But like, if I was going to pull a technique video to use to be able to show all of the elements I tried to show with a pencil, like in a pen cap last week, I would probably use his. They are very technically sound. But you have to have, there's probably 500 or 600 people on the men's and women's side that have the physical capabilities to move that way. Without that big heave being part of it. So, but yeah, that was one where it was like, okay, well, that would be like me being like, well, why can't you do after the step ups, you can't do like 50 handstand push-ups in a row or whatever that number was, like that kind of thing. It's not necessarily the most fair thing to put out there, but just a narrative that I thought was kind of funny. And I'm intrigued because to have this workout not be leaked is very challenging with the amount of moving parts that they have. So there's rumors on a leak, but there's multiple rumors. So it's like, maybe they're finally buying into that and putting fake ones out intentionally. I don't know. Because I've heard 15.1 A and B, and I've heard 20.1.
Ooh, what's 20.1?
The ground overhead burpee.
Oh, nasty.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a really nasty workout.
People are starting to put out fake videos for Hiller. Like, if you saw, like,
that's true.
Put, like, blocked out his clock and stuff like that, and so they could be.
Yeah.
About time, because it's like, I'm sick of people knowing.
It's annoying
that, it really
that they
makes
know
a difference, but
there are times when it makes a huge difference. The Chad thing at the games was the most egregious one to me.
Yeah.
Literally, it gets released, and you're like, okay, these are the people in that video, and then being at the games and listening to the people that were in the lead, it was literally the names of the people who had practiced that style.
Oh, you mean like up on the box, the way they float? Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Because everyone was like, there's got to be some kind of nuance to this. Yeah. I'm looking at the chat. People are arguing here. It will be interesting not to have rowing.
Yeah, that is.
If that's really the case.
Definitely see it in quarterfinals. So.
Yes, that is true. And don't you worry, there is plenty. Well, everybody knows already. We're in week 4. There's plenty of rowing in.
Our 4 semifinals, online people.
to the Misfits following our quarterfinals prep right now. I told you that you would be able to tell that the Open is over. You will be able to tell that the Open is over. Just look at what's programmed for Saturday as of right now. The other rumor deduction based on Wodapalooza programming setup is 22.2 deadlift burpee. That was a doozy.
I've seen
that was a doozy of a workout.
Nasty.
Non-pullers didn't like that workout. They found that out pretty quickly. There's just enough hinging to make those deadlifts not want to be as hingy. And then when you start squatting the bar up from the floor, that's when you start to have some real problems with your deadlifts.
Yeah. I mean, we've done so much deadlift conditioning.
It's true.
Prior to quarterfinals prep, so.
Yep. No rowing, please. Pukey face.
Same.
When's the last time they didn't do rowing in the Open? No rowing in 21 or 22.
That is. I wouldn't
Kyle,
say 2 years in a row.
I would say the chipper is fairly indicative of what I'm talking about. The chipper was intentionally like, I'll read the chipper to the people. Where is it?
Kyle, just do the volume, do the math on that chipper.
All right, what is the chipper? The chipper is a 2K bike, 100 wall balls, 200 foot double dumbbell overhead walking lunge, 200 double unders, 50 wall balls, 50 double dumbbell hang power cleans.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely the chipper. The Sprinterville, I think the bar muscle up version might have been a little bit harder. But I flipped the bar muscle ups and the ring muscle ups this week based on the Open workout. So yeah, there is a little Karen in there, huh?
You guys should be well informed on wall balls at this point.
Kyle, that's a gift for you on Monday, though. I guess you train on Tuesdays, but that was a little the deficit handstand push-ups, or maybe it's a curse because that'd be too easy.
That one looks fun.
Yeah, that one does look fun, even to me. Yeah, double dumbbell, Kyle.
Oh.
Yeah, it's just a subtle little thing thrown in there. Well, if there's no rowing, Monday's rowing is really, really a gift. That is a staple of competition prep. We have 8th gear row, 7 by 90 seconds, 3.5 minutes off at 8th gear.
I hope, obviously, if handstand push-ups is something that you really need to work on, you hit that training piece. But if somebody is doing one training session right now, I sure do hope that they do the 90-second
You choose the row
intervals.
Yeah.
Because even as much as I don't like it, I choose it. I get McKenna to join me, and we're in it for the 40 minutes that we're there. We're in it for the long haul.
I always at the gym, I was a workout the middle of the day kind of person. But if it was monostructural that I didn't want to do, I always went to the 3:30 class. It's just different.
Join.
Yeah, you're in that circle of rowers or bikes or whatever, and at the very least you can commiserate. I can try to convince affiliate athletes to pace properly, which they won't, but it at least takes my mind off things while I'm going. Did you know or notice that you did the 8th gear of running, rowing, or echo bike every final week of competition prep? Is that something that you
only
noticed before we started programming together? Yeah.
No, only until we talked about it did I realize. And then I was like, okay. Like this is that training piece.
Yeah.
It's like Matt Fraser did the 1:45:15, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that.
Yeah.
Well, the last eighth gear row. I was gonna say the last eighth gear piece we did, I think, was Echo Bike, wasn't it?
Probably.
Like from a programming perspective.
Yeah.
I remember Peyton, because she's good at the Echo Bike, and
Oh,
she's
dude, I am not a fan of
unwell.
looking at her scores at all. I do not like looking at her Echo Bike scores.
Girl
Those
is
are
scary
crazy.
good.
Yeah. No. So when Hunter bought the gym from me in November, and is a full-time small business owner. So he's still doing the affiliate podcast with us, but he's not on the podcast. It's so funny. He like his grumpy little quips, like the people definitely miss those.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think you're going to get that much of that from Paige or I.
No.
He comes from the top rope
too nice.
on a fairly regular basis.
He does. He's doing the affiliate podcast with us.
Yeah,
so
he does all of the affiliate podcasts with us. Yeah, you could always. And there's also like 300 episodes with him on there if you want to go listen to him. We got plenty of content there. Oh, watch this. Hold on. Technology, baby.
Peyton does have that long, sleeky hair. She's down at Wadapalooza right now. They're doing Team of 3. She did a little primer day. Yeah, did a little primer day. She's like, man, I feel good. Perfect.
When do they start, the teams?
I have no idea. It's a good question.
But they do. She's going to be able to like go do the open workout.
Yeah. So you can't hear this if I have it on, can you?
Nope.
Okay.
I mean, we got to get something short and nasty, right?
Yeah, I mean,
that's what I hope.
What was yeah.
Short and dirty, real gassy. That's what we need to balance this out. Give the meatheads a chance, would you? Goodness. Short and or heavy.
Power clean handstand push-ups from 2015. 3-3, 6-3, 9-3, 12-6, 15-6. I think the barbell went up every time. One of the movements went up every time, and the other movement went up every 3 rounds. Here we go. Yeah, it sounds like if you're at Wadapalooza, the 2 days to do the open workout at the venue is Friday and Sunday. I saw Tony sent me a message. He's down there watching. Hey, Queen.
McKenna, you beat me on 26.2. I didn't do any dumbbell snatches. You got me by 1 rep.
5 reps.
That's dumb. 603. Danny, while I've got you here, if you could learn to use your hips in pulling gymnastics, you would be dangerous. I'm just putting that out there. You probably have heard it already. I haven't seen an open hip on a pull up or a muscle up yet. So I am happy to do free video review and gymnastics coaching if you reach out to me. We got to get those hips open.
Take advantage. Wow, crazy close times.
Crazy.
Yeah, she is a muscle up queen, Claudia.
Those are fast lunges.
She was right next to Victor Hoffer too, I think, when she did it. At
It's a
least
good
the
person
first
to race
time.
in this one.
Yeah. Wow, Matilda Garns.
6 points. That's rude. She gonna win the games this year?
Lucy Campbell? She could. I mean, I think the only way Tia doesn't compete is if she stays pregnant, having babies.
Oh, she's not competing. I don't think. I don't
I
think that's
know.
possible.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that's the only way.
Oh, that's the only way that she doesn't win, you mean?
Yeah. Yeah,
Gotcha.
if Tia is back in.
Yo, Chad, is my video better this week?
Who?
Chat.
Oh.
That's what the live streamers say, I think. What's up, chat?
Always ask chat. This is the second year I didn't go to Wadapalooza, and I really do get FOMO. Most other competitions I don't. Obviously the games and semis, but it's such a
Yeah,
vibe there.
last year was my first year in like a decade that I didn't go, and just not
Mhm.
leaving Maine to go to Miami.
That break, yeah.
Yeah, the huge part of it. And that definitely is that's the competition for me from like a community standpoint.
Yeah, agreed. Cute.
Yeah, Dallin just can't pull the Vellner and try to come back from like a 30th, 40th place finish to open.
I feel like Dallin was like really on pace to win it this past year, but with World Fitness Project, all the training around it, it's been hard. Like finding that balance is hard.
With how close all of those athletes are together, though, the programming matters so much.
Yeah.
The programming is, and he's just not quite there on the monostructural like the other guys are. I think that's a huge
Easy to
part of
think
it.
about.
Yeah.
I remember, I think it was 2023. with Gabe, and we were at semifinals, and he's like figuring out who's gonna snatch heavy, who's not, with that like snatch and then run and snatch, or vice versa. And he's like, Paige Powers, she's not gonna get over 185. Olivia Kerstetter, she's not gonna go that heavy. And it was like,
didn't Olivia do like 200 when she was a teen, when she's like a teen athlete? His research is a little off there. I stay home for one semifinal. Oh yeah.
Amazing. So fun. 30, 32, and 20. There's the cat jumping over the bar. Ooh. Yay.
Clean and jerk?
Thruster.
No, the last one.
Oh. Am I behind?
What? Dude. Let's get a graphic. Let's see if we can get a graphic here.
So 12
name.
burpees, 12 cleans, 12 burpees, 12 thrusters. 2 rounds of that. Then you add weight, you do 2 more rounds. And you add weight, you do 2 more rounds. That's what I hear. He does, Kyle.
Oh, you do cleans the first round, thrusters the second round the whole time. What the?
Yeah.
that was the worst explanation of that possible. So these are lateral, if you want.
Yeah, it sounds like they could just be any style burpees. Kyle, thank you. How much of this?
I don't think, Kyle, that's not that many burpees. Isn't it just 24 times 3?
It's 2 rounds though. Oh, wait.
It's not two rounds of the 12 and 12. It's 2 rounds because you do. Wait.
I think he's right.
So you do 8 sets with the barbell.
So it's 2 rounds of burpee clean, burpee thruster. 2 rounds of that at 65 pounds.
Got it.
Then you go to it again. So yeah, it's 48 burpees each segment.
Wow, what an incredibly terrible explanation. Also, people are saying that there's 96 burpees in the chat. No one knows what the workout is. I'm definitely, we're definitely showing McKenna's show on stream. I don't understand. You can add @Misfit Coach to that.
Guys, this is nasty.
Listen, guys, I do actually understand it, but I can't make sense of how he said it into what it is.
Because he said 2 rounds of 12 burpees, cleans burpees,
Right.
and I'm like, we wouldn't go back to, that'd be 24 burpees in a row.
Right. Well, got ourselves a doozy of a little workout here. That's for sure.
I think this is a fun group of athletes to watch too.
Yeah. A lot of fitness.
Yeah.
Yes, Adrian, you do need triceps.
They just won't exist afterwards.
A little bit of a trap there at the start, for sure.
Yeah.
Because singles on 95-65 are very annoying. So you have to figure out how to essentially put out a similar amount of energy, with some sets of 4 or sets of 6, things of that nature.
5, 4, 3, get you right to 12.
Yeah.
It is 2 rounds at each section.
It's not 2 rounds like all the way down through, Adrian. It's 2 rounds of each section, and then you move on.
We'll find out when we see the sheet.
I don't think they're ever going to go back to 2 foot to 2 foot.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Your feet have to be off the ground at the same time. You can't land on your left foot and then pick your right foot up after. At some point, both feet have to be in the air. Yeah, Kyle. Kyle, what is about to happen to your overall leaderboard compared to previous years? Because we've had double unders every year since 2019. Kyle's about to fly up that leaderboard. Kyle's easily the fittest non-double underer I've ever met in my whole life. And I've met many.
Start on one side of the barbell, chest and thighs. Let's see.
All right.
Jumping or stepping in and out of the bottom of the burpee is permitted. A 2-foot takeoff or a 2-foot landing is not required. Both feet must be off the ground as you go over. So there you go, guys.
All right, guys. If I get lost in the sauce doing split times, I apologize in advance. What is this? I would just add something here.
True, Tammy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, workouts like this with the turnover rate of 2 of these movements,
Hopefully everybody knows like burpee efficiency here. If you see them stepping up with their outside foot every time, it just helps you lean in and over on the barbell to finish the rep.
Yeah, and the efficiency of movement thing is one where you feel like it's not necessary, and then it completely implodes the end of your workout.
Mm-hmm.
Those failed thrusters that you see at the heavier weights come from not making the burpee a hip-driven movement. So watch how Ariel's hips get above her head in that position. Do you think I picked Ariel to follow? Do you think she's going to win this? That was my guess.
I think, yeah. I think that too.
She's the kind of athlete where sometimes she goes out hot enough that you think it's not going to be okay, and then she just wins by a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, all right, that's fair.
Like anything with burpees with her. The only time I saw her struggle was at Rogue with the overhead squats. It seemed to really like light up her low back.
Yeah.
But I don't think she has an issue with these movements.
So Ariel as well, hips stay above the head on the way down too, which is huge. A lot of people like to drop the hips down and do the negative, which you're seeing Danielle Brandon do a little bit. She's definitely the kind of athlete, though, that has upper body endurance that we do not possess as mortals. Also, if you don't have upper body for days, we need a redip on this clean. I know it's 65 pounds on the women's side, but staying low. And that is not a luxury of people who are lower to the ground as humans, right? Big people need it even more. Gotta stay low. Do not add range of motion to this movement. Yeah. They don't, I mean, look at, they're basically 90 degrees or even more the entire time.
Yeah.
Never see someone stand up. A lot of
especially
intermediate athletes, we'll call them, will have that issue in a workout like
even
this.
Especially Danielle Brandon, she's the tallest one there. You know, she's 5'7", 5'8", and her shoulders are staying below her hips that whole time. Guys, wall balls, knee extension, thrusters, knee extension.
Nah, try to throw the bar. Get on the front half of your foot and see if you can throw the bar across the gym. Hopefully people know that I wasn't serious there.
Yeah, you do have to change your own weights. What's the men's? 95, 115, 135?
Yep.
I don't know, Olivia. That's a tough one because like Olivia will be a little bit slower on the burpees, but I think that her barbell will stay more efficient
Yep.
than Ariel.
And with the younger athletes coming up, you never really know what kind of leap they're going to make on a year by year basis.
And she's shown that she can make a leap.
Yeah, very true.
Takes them halfway through.
They will be after these thrusters, yeah. Yeah, that's another thing to obviously to consider too. If you're looking at splits, I don't know how many people out there do that same thing, but they're outside in the sun and the adrenaline factor and the who knows how long they had to stand around and wait.
Right.
Yeah, and you're seeing body language and movement now from Ariel that you typically don't see in something like this. In the way that we learn from watching something like this is to figure out ways to be efficient and calm early so that we can stay a little bit more ourselves in the middle and then be the ones that dig and are able to make a push towards the end. Yeah, Chase is seeing something similar. If the burpee person doesn't like the burpees.
Yeah, she's standing there waiting to go down for that next rep.
Yep.
Danielle stepped over the bar, got a no rep. Girl, I feel for you.
This is long enough too, and there's enough reps that the no standing around season thing is the biggest thing that we're going to talk about once this workout is over, right? So if I drop, shout out to Kenzie Riley, if I drop the barbell, I can pick the thing back up. If I'm going until I can't do a burpee or I can't do a thruster, then I can't pick it back up. I can't continue to go. I can't continue to move. So breaking as a strategy is really smart. Breaking because the workout has snapped you in half and you're 8 minutes in is not good. How unfit are the people that are saying the open is lame? I wish I was live streaming to the morons in the chat. Why don't you come over here? We'll talk. They're going to have to push to finish.
I mean, if he's shown us anything in the first workout, it's that he is going to push the best of the best, right?
Yep.
RX for the best, scale for the rest. Like, it's part of the philosophy.
Yeah, I don't know if all three of them are going to finish this. So a 6-minute round, essentially, for Danielle and Ariel right there. So obviously there you can push a little bit to finish, but another 6-minute round
Yeah.
is a problem. Olivia's going to finish.
Dude.
Probably. I say that as she's standing there. Ooh, are those reps? There was some. I can't see her judge though. Maybe she did get a no rep.
The elbows, is that what you're looking at?
Yeah, there was
They're
at
close.
least one that looked like a no, but I couldn't see her judge. So well, it's a 16-minute AMRAP for almost everyone.
True.
Watch that outside foot the whole time too. We're looking at something to pay attention here too. We step up with the outside foot. That way we get to use a different leg as we go. We don't get that fatigue on the hip flexor just on one side. And then bringing up the inside leg gets that lean in the correct direction that we're looking for there. She's on pace to finish, but barely.
18 reps per minute. Kyle, you in this math. I don't know if you're helping or hurting.
Knowing how to do the math is sometimes a blessing and sometimes a curse.
No, I do like to know. I do the same thing.
I think more people will finish this because they got to watch this.
Mm-hmm.
I think that 4-minute round to open is part of the trap. And it's tough too, because how do you slow it down, right? You want to be efficient in your burpees. Efficient burpees aren't super slow.
Yeah.
So it's got to be that final bit of my leg is up, I'm stepping over and then jumping over the bar, the footwork element. But even then, being bent over in that position isn't very comfortable. So you don't really want to stay there either. You need to move at a pace with the barbell that allows continuous burpees for the entire workout. Woo! What's the temperature?
I was just thinking that. It's got to be hot there.
Ooh, 79 degrees, 68% humidity. Yeah.
Last minute here. Boy, oh boy. Take it down. She won't put the barbell down though.
One of the movements that got her onto the podium at the
gosh.
games there at the end.
That with the overhead walking lunge, the bike. Oh my gosh. Girl. Damn.
Wow.
Oh, guys, you're going to need a fridge sig after this one. Damn.
16 minutes of burpees, power cleans, and thrusters. That's no joke. That is no joke. Okay, so one thing that I think people will be happy about based on feedback last week, I am going to put the warm-up at the end of the sliders on Instagram. And not 5 pages of warm-up and activation and all that stuff to start. Although I know Instagram just serves you a random page or a random tile anyways. So when we're warming up for a workout like this, I'm going to tell all of my athletes to bump that sweat check from 12 to 15 minutes. It's just really, really one of the disadvantages of the athletes that we just watched is they didn't know what they were warming up for. Who knows when they warmed up? They were standing out there. They were then confused as to what the actual workout was. Then they did the workout under the sun. So a lot of disadvantages there, not knowing the exact feel of the workout, all that stuff. So part of what makes the open announcement so powerful is we get to reverse engineer a lot of our thoughts, get to sound smart because you just watched those people go through that. So I would bump the sweat check up to a full 15 minutes for most athletes. And I would definitely make sure that I got the upper body involved. I would probably personally be on the Echo bike for the final 5 minutes of that, making sure that I'm really kind of getting into the sweat and the flow of full body type workout. When we're talking about, and definitely a primer for this one. This is one where, because the movements themselves are going to make you feel like they looked after the first 5 minutes or so of this workout, it's really important to have a primer. So there'll be a primer in there as well. The general theme here of strategy in this workout is, from a macro point of view, how little time can you spend doing absolutely nothing? Slow reps are better than no reps, as we say. And then the other side of it is break the workout before you're broken. The barbell movements need to be done in sets at a pace, at a fatigue level, both from a beats per minute heart rate to grip and hip flexors and quads, all of that, where you can stay moving continuously on your burpees. It's very rare to see athletes, and that's one of the traps of a lateral burpee, is that you can rip them off at a big clip and you don't really feel the ramifications until you are 60 deep.
Right.
And then you've done all this other work as well, and you have a ton of work to go. So the barbell needs to, again, be broken up in a way where you don't stand around as much. So we're talking about a lot more singles than they did with the barbell. I know that it's annoying. There are some tricks that you can kind of figure out on your own as you're warming up for how you drop the barbell. Being willy-nilly about it and just chucking it from the front rack position and having it not balance very well is going to be a problem. So that's something to consider there. And then the style of plates that you have definitely matter. So if the ones that that don't bounce as much or don't bend as much are definitely the ones that you want to be able to use. But it's going to be more singles for a lot of athletes. Bless the affiliate owners who are about to lose some plates. Some collars are about to pop out of some plates here. And with the thrusters, again, there is nothing wrong with 3 sets. there's nothing wrong with, 5-4-3.
Yeah.
Because if you are dropping it and treating it like the single drop and reset, there's not going to be any issue there. And that's just going to give you some breathing room as you go, to be able to do that. So really the issue here is they, for the most part, ended up in the place where you should be on the third section in the second section from like a metabolic standpoint. This workout will catch up to you no matter what. There's not really going to be any hiding here unless you magically have just like the stars align for your strategy to be the most perfect thing that it could be, which, no offense to anybody, it's just not going to happen. That's the nuance of having, our sport essentially change every single time that you do it. So the barbell needs to be carefully executed because other athletes are going to be able to figure out how to do that, and they're going to stay moving on their burpees. They're not going to have as many issues there.
Yeah, I think two things that really stick out to me, if you might start off doing a burpee, say every 3 seconds. Okay, 12 takes you 36 seconds, and all of a sudden you fall off and you're at every 6 seconds. Well, that took you from 36 seconds to a minute 12. Like, you need to find that happy medium for yourself that you can just stay consistent and not have a wide range of a round is this pace and a round is that pace. And then the other thing, like you said, with the thrusters is like, you're better off dropping it than resting at the top and holding this position, and just that time under tension is just going to catch up so quickly in this workout. So, being very intentional now of like, hit your lockout, bring that bar right back down, save those arms as much as you can.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So again, I mean, we could definitely cook up a silly strategy that gets us as many views as possible, but it would apply literally to like one subset of maybe we have 15 avatars to give this advice to. So again, we remain, pulled back enough to see the full spectrum here. Like, still the same advice, still manage the barbell to a point where you continue to move there, but that means different things for different athletes. That means, one set for certain athletes on the thrusters at certain points in the workout. It means 2 sets for most. It means, 3 or 4 sets for a lot of athletes. If you really struggle with burpees, that is going to be an issue where oftentimes that athlete is a little bit better with the barbell. And then you accidentally put yourself into a place. I'm essentially talking about myself right now, but I know that there are more out there that are like me. The barbell is just going to feel easy and you're going to overdo it there. And it's like 2 or 3 times more challenging than you would think to back off enough to be able to go move yourself through the burpees. So that's something to really put out there. And again, it's nice to have, depending on who the athletes were, some of the athletes are, in the sport at the highest level, men's and women's side, are a little bit bigger. And if we had watched them specifically, some of the smaller athletes, some of the ninjas might have still thought like, oh, just going to stomp the gas pedal and get this thing done in 14 minutes. Then we saw Ariel do what she does.
Burpee ninja,
yeah, and have some issues there. So really be thoughtful about the way that you do that. Movement efficiency. So we talked while it was on live, but we'll go kind of movement by movement here. So our lateral burpee, we want to make sure that we are stepping up with a different leg each time. And the most efficient version of that is going to be stepping up with the outside leg, so that when you bring the inside foot up, we've got a little bit of a lean into that position before we jump over the bar. That is something that if you don't do it and you're the type who does the like bar facing burpee in a circle until you get dizzy, it's going to take you a minute to figure that out. So that's something where we would add a little bit more practice to the warm up, but with having the thruster in there and having the, hip involvement with that many burpees, with burpees really dominating this workout, it's really important that you figure out how to do that. within the workout. Not the worst thing in the world if you do the inside leg the whole time, but if you can do the inside leg, you can do the outside leg. It's just the same thing on opposite sides of the bar. So there shouldn't be any issues there. And we're staying low. So we got good examples of athletes while they were still with us on planet Earth, essentially not standing up any further where your head and shoulders would be above your hips as you're going over the bar. So that'd be one way to think about it. And then as we are lowering ourselves, you got to learn to actually like drop yourself down to the ground. You got to be able to sprawl into that position so that we don't have that negative each time. Because again, that's one thing where you didn't see this from the athletes, but will be present in 90% of the CrossFit community. That negative each time will add up and will become an issue in conjunction with your front rack position, in the front rack position, and then definitely getting those final reps overhead as you're really gassed. Not a lot of people are going to get to do those final reps, but a lot of people will get to do the first round with the thrusters there. A decent amount of athletes will be able to do that. And then it's just the same thing on the way up. We want to reverse what that looks like as we're coming back up. So we want the hips to stay above the head and shoulders on the way up. We want it to be a hip closing movement instead of a press up movement in that position. Right. And I made the comment about Danielle Brandon having the pressing capacity. Something caught up with her in that workout. And that's just not an efficient burpee, whether you like to press or not. The athletes that you see that are really burpee ninjas are the ones who stay low and use the fact that they sprawl and then close their hip to come back up.
Yeah. And if you are that athlete that has that kind of slow negative, it almost always means that you're pressing out of your burpee anyway. So really, if you can learn to just get your chest to the ground early, it's also going to help on the way up too. So, take some time beforehand to practice it, take videos of yourself so you can see, get a visual of it. But yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen the worm negative and then someone magically close their hips to get themselves back up. Yeah. Right. That's just something that we don't see there. So yeah, that's the burpee. You have to find, that's the one, it's not a counterpoint, but it is something to consider. The style of burpee that we are talking about is typically a bit more dynamic. So you have to find a way to move well within your burpee and be efficient, but not be too fast. Mm-hmm. So it's the subtle things of when you step out over, as you have your arms extended and you're lowering yourself down, you're taking a little bit of a beat because you're putting yourself essentially on like a hamster wheel that eventually you're going to have to jump off of. So again, while you're warming up, we're thinking about a lot of things, but I can tell you that when we're stuck with 100 plus burpees, when we're stuck on the rower in these workouts, having something to think about at each point in the movement is helpful to me anyways. It's helpful to my kind of inner narrative, right? As I'm going through. So I have this cadence and I'm repeating and kind of going through this in my head of like, I'm going to sprawl and then I am going to keep my head and my shoulders low while I use my hips to come back up. I'm going to step up with that outside foot. I'm going to bring the inside foot in and then hop over. And while I'm doing that and I'm working through those things, I'm really thinking about like, could I stay efficient and slow down a little bit? That's really what we're looking for, because it's when we are forced to slow down that we change our movement a ton, and then it just gets really sloppy. Like a lot of things change. You're basically just in survival mode at that point.
Yeah. And like we had an athlete at camp that was doing burpee box jump overs, and he was so methodical in his pace that he was like standing and waiting at the other side. We also don't want that either.
No.
Like you want to find that in between where you are steady down, steady up, and like it's going to look different for everybody, but like, if you're going to use a clock to your advantage, like it's not to stand and wait at the other side. So just keep that in mind too. Like, again, that's getting cute with it, and we're not after that.
No. The cleans are the place where there's a lot of nuance from athlete to athlete. If you are either moving or you rest a lot, if you're that kind of athlete, it might be worth it for you to do small sets of touch and go early and then take an extra breath before your next set than it will be to do singles if you don't think you can stay mentally on top of putting your hands right back on the bar. So I don't know how many athletes there are out there that are going to listen to this that are like that. But again, if you're ever delivered by a coach or, listening to something like this or reading one of the, 100 strategy things that you can find on Instagram, if you ever find yourself doing someone else's strategy and then not able to cut down on the rest periods, that's when the like singles all the way through just probably isn't going to work for you. But I can see a lot of athletes in this workout benefiting from singles the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't get any points for that negative. Like that's a huge part of it. It's not just that it's going to jack up your heart rate. It's that you're doing this other half of the movement that isn't necessary. And it doesn't require the kind of tension that, say, a deadlift does, where another rep is going to be more challenging.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can get yourself into that good position there for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's literally that bar isn't going to leave near your shins. You're going to keep it close the entire time. And it's like, it is actually something that you can, again, use the clock to your advantage of like, all right, I'm going to do a rep every however many seconds. And like, I personally find that really helpful to keep me accountable when I'm doing things like singles. But like your athlete IQ, like you can write up a sheet, like we can make an athlete IQ sheet for this one. And I think like, at least for my remote athletes, I've seen that to really benefit on every workout that they've done. So, I'll be interested to see like who says they're going to go singles and then all of a sudden 3, 2, 1, go, and they blast off on the barbell. So, but I agree. I think singles can really be a way to go.
3 sets of 4, 4 sets of 3, and you're making up maybe 1 second per section on the people that are doing singles. That means you drop it and you go, and then you put your hands back on. So it's okay to do that, but we are trying to have the same amount of work in the same amount of time as the singles gang. That's what we're trying to do. So it's totally fine to grab some sets of touch and go, but give yourself that extra beat. Just because we program so many volume singles at Misfit Athletics, those sessions, I've seen enough athletes who think they need to pull down into tension on power cleans and power snatches. And if you do that and do singles, you might not make it to the second section in this workout. So what I mean by that is you drop the bar, you put your hands on, your hips are still up in line with your heads. You're in that kind of like bad deadlift position, and then you pull yourself down into tension. That has no place in a workout like this. So when I drop the bar, it is no longer in my way anymore, and I can do basically a squat down to the barbell. So I can push my knees out, I can bend at the knee, I can bend at the waist. My hands don't need to go, like the more accurate you are, the easier the workout's going to be, but it does not need to be perfect. As it gets a little bit heavier, maybe you do take an extra second to just make sure that you're, where you need to be there. But I do have to throw that out there because there are a lot of athletes that you see take really long to do like their set of 12 volume singles. And it's like, that's not quite what we're trying to practice here.
Right.
When it comes to the thrusters, in terms of actual strategy, we got a lot of avatars here. We have a lot of different people, and I would say, at the very most, like close to scaled level athlete, maybe 4 sets early. Intermediate athlete, 3 sets, and then a lot of athletes to begin will be 2.
You saw these guys have to break it up. So that should tell you.
And we want, again, there's nothing wrong with that, but we want to invert when that happens. We want to purposefully do 2 or 3 sets for the first 4 sets of thrusters so that if we are racing the clock and we happen to have 135.85 or even 115.75 in that front rack position, that we get at that point get to go push. Because a lot of people are going to have different strategies and end up at a very similar point at the end of the workout. A lot of the people that you're competing against are going to do that. But what happens and that last minute or so completely changes where you're at on the leaderboard, right? So you do completely different strategies. You arrive at the exact same point at like 14 and a half minutes. What happens after that? Did you leave enough in the tank to be able to go like get after it and completely change your score?
Yeah. I don't know. Thrusters, guys.
Yep.
I mean, we have done also enough workouts where you are ending on a shitty movement. So it's like, have you pushed on a rower at the end of an AMRAP? Have you, like you already know what that feels like. So like you can also use your experience there of like, I do need to leave a little so that I can, give at the end, because there's going to be a lot of people really paying the price of standing up from their burpee and like being real sad to want to put their chest back on the ground. So like that is where body language can also come into play.
Oh yeah, big time. I mean, in terms of efficiency with the thruster, we do see a lot of technical issues when someone's moving through a thruster. I'm going to talk you through them. I don't know how much they're going to matter in this specific workout. The thruster is not like fucking everything else up in this workout. The thruster is just another annoying little chunk of something, unless you make it to the point where you're really pushing to try and finish. So the biggest thing that we see with the thruster in terms of, we'll talk about the lower half first, in terms of the squat mechanics, is people just get too forward. We don't keep the whole foot on the ground. We don't keep the big toe and the heel pressed into the ground while we drive the knees out. That creates the arch, that creates a stable hip position that allows us for our torso to be more kind of between our feet instead of back behind our feet. And then as you go to stand up, the amount of people that we see, especially with light barbells, try to press early is a huge problem. It's no different than a wall ball. So we really want to get a feel for, while we're warming up, we have a little drill that we do that can be really helpful with that, of you've made it up to that quarter squat, you're almost done the rep, bar is still squarely rested in that front rack position, and it's knee extension and then hip extension by proxy. Like, we don't push our hips forward, they just open because we've snapped our hips or our knees open and then stood up. That acceleration there is what is going to drive the bar up off the upper body and allow you to have that press up overhead. So that is really important there. The drill that I like to do to make sure that we're doing this in both directions is you do a front squat and you stop at that quarter squat position. Am I still where I need to be? And then we drive through and we lock that out overhead. And then we come down and we knock ourselves back into the quarter squat in the front rack position, and we pause there. So essentially on the way up and the way down, we are pausing at a quarter squat to say, I am using my lower half to drive the bar up, and I am using the bar hitting me to break me down into my next rep each time. We don't want to be squatting with the barbell like in our hands. We don't want to be going down there. We want it rested on our torso to be able to go down into that position. So those are the main faults that we see. Paige mentioned the thing made famous by either the fittest or second fittest man ever, Rich Froning, and his keep it up overhead. I'm so sorry, guys. Not a single person listening to this podcast is Rich Froning. Don't watch that. Don't do that. Okay. And honestly, there are a bunch of other people you can tell have copied it over the years, and it just cracks me up. So don't do that. Put the bar down. We're not doing any barbell overhead holds. That is not necessary. Of course, unless you want to be famous on YouTube, lock the thing out. But do your thrusters, do your thing. So potentially inadvertently did technique simultaneously there while we were doing strategy. But I do think in this type of workout, the way that you think yourself through it does have a lot to do with the technique while you're doing it. So I think that kind of makes sense there. Paige and I will finish up here with final thoughts over the next like 5 minutes or so. So if you guys do have any questions, definitely let us know. How are you thinking about this, Paige, from a because you go coach it and then you go do it. So like, how do you feel about this from the like athlete perspective?
I mean, this is definitely a workout where if I'm around the wrong people, I'll get baited way too early. Like I
Yeah.
will go outside of my strategy that I should hold. For me, this one is actually a lot more about my body language early on and like staying really calm, like you said, staying
Yep.
relaxed in my movements. But also like, there's got to be a sense of urgency within that. Like, knowing what movement's coming next, knowing when I'm going to change the weights on my barbell. So
Yep.
obviously, like, I'll go and McKenna will be at the gym when I go do it. Like, I know she'll keep me, in my own headspace of where I need to be with this workout.
Yep.
So making sure that you have somebody like that around. But I would typically probably go into this and not want to break it up early on. And like, I think right off the bat, after like this conversation and watching, I want to see what happens when I do that. So I'll probably go a little bit outside of what I would typically do, and I'm going to see if it actually pays off in the end.
And the nuance in what you said, I want to make sure people pick up on this, is like she's trying to remain calm to lower like the floor and the ceiling of where her heart rate's going to be at. She's trying to manipulate that. She's going to be in pain 3-4 minutes in. That is still going to happen. And that's what happens this time of year when we say things can get too cute. We want, probably 4.5 minute range. Like we're trying to figure out how to add about 30 seconds roughly to the rounds that they did, give or take. That's what someone at Paige's level is trying to do. So there's no like, oh, okay, well, this is 16 minutes, so I'm going to take my time. I'm going to do my thing. It's about the way that you carry yourself, your body language, the way that you're breathing, and the way that you're pulling back like 10%. You're just finding a way to pull back a little bit so that you can survive the middle and then push as you know that things are kind of slowing down there. So she basically said she was going to be calm and not calm, like, and it sounds contradictory, but that's what we're trying to accomplish at a high level in this sport. Is what can we do about some strategic breaks in the workout? What can we do about the way that we're breathing and focusing on the way that we move that just buys us a little bit more pacing while it looks like we're remaining just as steady as everybody else?
Yeah. It's a good way to explain it.
I think it's unique that, and a lot of coaches that do also compete or at least do the workouts have to be ready to deliver 5 different strategies to people and then make sense of what that means to themselves.
Yeah.
Like it's very much in a vacuum for me. Like I know you and I know you and I know you and I know all of these people as individual athletes and I just give them the advice that I would want to give them. But then there's a lot swimming around upstairs for you personally for the way that you execute it.
Yeah, it is pretty easy to kind of get lost in the sauce because it's like last week, for example, I have athletes that are very good at ring muscle ups, and I have athletes who maybe don't get one. So it's like the strategies are very different as to how we're going to approach that workout. And then, okay, now it's time to think about myself and what does that look like? But again, part of the reason coaches have coaches as well. So utilizing that, is helpful.
For sure.
I honestly didn't do that last week, guys. So don't be like me.
So, yeah, that's the thing here. Maybe the thing that wasn't talked about enough, we talk about it regularly, but needs to be brought up this time of year. This workout is going to be a 4 out of 10 pain, and then 5, and then 6, and then 7, and then 8, and then 9, and then 10, if done properly. You could be at a 10, 9 minutes in, and then you survive and you just do what you're going to do. Yeah, at that point. But this is going to be really bad, and you have to know that. You have to accept it. When I think about last week's workout as an example, it's a very different version, but it's the exact same thing. It's that time that you see a triplet and you're a muscle up athlete, you love muscle ups, you're good to go, but there's like an intense rowing or something before, and you jump up and you do that first set, and it's like demoralizing because you're like, wow, that did not feel the way that I thought it was going to.
Mm-hmm.
That's a bit more of a mental game than this version is. Like, it will continuously get worse. So
Right.
you can't, when it does hit 7 out of 10, you can't turtle at that point. Like, you signed up for it. It is what it is. You have to keep going. You have to keep digging. It's going to continue to get worse. It's going to get a little bit slower, and that's okay. But it's not like, oh no, I did the wrong thing here. Now I'm screwed. I can't keep going. A lot of people back off at those points, and that's when you can get like 15 more reps out of them in a redo when you stay on their ass. And a lot of us have quarterfinals and semifinals to work about. So let's just do it once. Let's do it that first time.
Yep. I'm always been, I've always kind of been somebody who, like, I don't just like do it for myself. Like, again, team athlete my whole life. I'm going to lean into it for other people as well. So like, we have a lot of athletes that are new to semifinals prep or who are new to quarterfinals prep. And it's like, you guys can lead by example by leaning into these types of workouts to show everyone else, like, hey, we're in it with you. Like, you guys are going to go into the trenches on quarterfinals prep. You're going to go into the trenches on semifinals prep, and like, practice what you preach. Like, I'll take it from Kenzie all day long. Don't just talk about it, be about it. And it's like, this is a prime example of a workout to really kind of let that, that phrase shine, especially within the Misfit community. So I think it'd be really, really cool to really see how many people can dig into the trenches on this workout specifically.
Yep. If you are highly invested for any level, right? There are people at the highest level that aren't as invested. There are people at the lowest level that are all in. They're super excited about the Open. If you are really into this and want to do as best as you can, having a judge and a coach separately that are there, where the judge is counting the way that you're asking them to count, and the coach is, hey, that's a little bit too fast. Okay, we're reaching that point. We're starting to slow down. It's time to keep that pace. We got to hold on. This is going to hurt, but you can do it. Like, that kind of thing. That's another thing that can just completely change what you end up having for a score in the workout. Getting into the wrong headspace, the wrong strategy, the wrong movement patterns in a workout like this will chop off bigger chunks of what you're capable of than what you would think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. Definitely have experienced that too.
Well, gang,
you
were not handed any. Yeah, you were not handed any short, dirty workouts. But I did tell all of you that the Open is all medium workouts and quarterfinals is mostly short workouts. So we have that in there. It's built into your program. We've done way more medium workouts than we normally would have, especially on the interval side leading up to this. It's a doozy. I don't know what to.
GPP,
I don't know what
guys.
to. Yeah. Seriously, this is very much GPP. There would be people in your gym that get to play around with the heavier barbell that you feel like it's unfair because they're not as strong as you. But that buy-in to show off the fact that you can cruise through 12 at 135 is too hefty. If you didn't bring GPP along for the ride. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we definitely got our propaganda in, both from the way that we spoke and from the programming itself. That's for damn sure. Yep. All right. Did we do it?
We did it.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Misfit Podcast. Thank you to our show sponsor, Gorilla Mind. Head to gorillamind.com/misfit or use the code word misfit at checkout to save and support the podcast. Misfit affiliate Rushmore phase begins Monday, March 16th. You can get a 2-week free trial by going to teammisfits.com. Click on the sign up now button, Sugar Watt, Stream Fit, or Push Press, or you can email me directly, coach@misfitathletics.com. I will give you the first 2 weeks in our PDF form that you would get if you signed up directly. on teammisfit.com. If you want to set up a call and talk through what the programming is like, I'm always available for that. Just shoot me an email. Individual programs are available on Fitter. And, oh yeah, Gorilla Mode Vanilla Ice Cream. Well done. What was I talking about? The programming, Instagram.com/Misfit Athletics. The link in bio on Fitter and Strivey. That's all of our individual programs. Free trials are live now. And we will see you guys next week for the recap show. Make sure that if you want your name on there to potentially win one of 2 sets of prizes, that you go to the spreadsheet and fill that out. I will email it out. I will post it, all that good stuff. See you guys next week.